Hey everybody, welcome to The Player's Take, episode 38. I am your host, Justin DeSimone, joined by my co-host, the man without a nickname, Montrell Rice.
Hey, man, you're getting really good at these intros, man.
I mean, I couldn't think of a nickname, so I just came up with that on the fly. Like,
Yeah,
literally,
yeah,
right as I was saying the intro.
You got that radio thing going on now.
I'm getting it, you know?
Man.
It's become a habit for me, so, I usually think of them before the show, but this time, I couldn't think of anything clever. So, all right. For those of you who have listened before, The Player's Take is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. Let's start, like we always do, with what we've been playing. What have you been playing, man?
I'll start with the thing that we both have been playing.
Okay.
So I've been playing Code Vein.
Yeah.
And if you've been listening to the podcast for the last couple of weeks, or just know me in person, you know I absolutely despise the release of this game.
Yep. I haven't not seen a game that you've hated more than this game.
So the reason I hate this game so much, I mean, you guys probably already know, I feel like it's a cash grab. It's just cash grabbing off the anime aesthetic.
Actually, he hates Jump Force more.
Let me
correct that.
Jump Force is legitimately trash, and no one can ever convince me otherwise that game's not trash. And I will not buy that game, so don't try to tell me to buy it, everybody, because I won't. But I bought Code Vein because my friend said he wanted to play it with me, and I played it for a couple hours. So the game's not like complete ass.
Yeah.
It's just regular ass. Like
just regular ass.
Yeah, I give it like I give it like a 5 out of 10. It's not like a 4. It's an average game. It doesn't really bring anything new to the table as far as like Dark Souls mechanics. It is literally Dark Souls.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Yeah,
when you showed it to me.
Yeah, they do some interesting things. They instead of building your character's individual base stats like you do on Dark Souls, you have a level that you just increase with your souls or blood things they call it. I forgot what they call it, but it's pretty much souls you get, and you increase it that way. You have to get a certain amount of XP. You go to the bonfire and you increase your level. But in this game, you get something called not blood veils, but blood codes. Yeah. And those are different classes. So they got like a blood code melee range, a blood code for a ranger, which is like a melee, fast melee, also, but use range like a gun or something of that nature. They got one for casting, so you can cast spells and things of that nature. So they give you these classes at the start, whereas Dark Souls, you kind of have to build towards that. You always start kind of melee. Well, you can choose like a sorcery class, but you can't switch on the fly. You're kind of locked into that play style.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to switch over.
Dark Souls was weird. Yeah, because you could do everything technically on one character.
Yeah.
You just would have needed to grind like to an insane degree
Pretty
for that
much
to happen, but. The game gives you these like starter classes, right? That like kind of guide you in a certain direction.
Yeah, like you can start with a warrior or adventurer, which is kind of like their dexterity class. Heavy person or a sorcerer in Dark Souls as well, which is like faith based or whatever. So they give you the 4 classes at the start, and you can switch them anytime on the fly, which I think is actually pretty cool. Yeah, you can switch them out if you're done playing the caster. You get done playing that, then you can play something else. And I did beat 2 bosses. I got 1 blood veil from 1 boss, which it gave me another class, which is more like a heavy melee class. So I can easily pick up 2-handed great swords or 2-handed hammers with it. So I'm wondering if it's gonna be like a Mega Man type thing, where if I beat more bosses, I get like more blood veils and I can. You also unlock certain abilities as well. They give you special things like I get the Ranger class. You get like this dash ability, which gives you a whole bunch of invincibility frames. Yeah, and you kind of like disappear, and you can reappear behind an enemy and stuff like that. So it does something interesting with that in that aspect. It's just I don't think the game, as far as that. I don't think the game is fleshed out. Yeah. Surrounding these moves. Yeah. They give you a lot of quality of life stuff. Like, if you want to learn how to parry, you can, because your character flash is temporary when you do your parry move, whereas when Dark Souls, you got to kind of guess where the invincibility
frames are. Yeah.
So they do that well. I feel like the game is geared towards people who wanted to get into the Soulsborne series. but we're always intimidated by it because this game's insanely easy. Like you got an AI partner. I had to turn the AI partner off because it made the game incredibly easy.
Yeah.
Even with him off, and I played with my friend. I played by myself, and I played with my friend. But even playing by myself, the game was incredibly easy. And I think that's just because I'm a Soulsborne kind of, I don't want to say vet, but I know I'm experienced in these games. I really don't see the huge challenge. But I do think they designed this game for people who are like, they maybe want to dip their toes in the franchise, but they don't want to commit to it all the way. And I think this would be a great entry game. I'm just upset that it came so late within the franchise. If that makes sense. Within the whole genre. Yeah,
well, you were saying something. You said something that like it doesn't really add anything new.
Yeah, it doesn't.
To this genre. It's just kind of there.
Yeah,
and it's just one of these games.
Yeah. It's like a first-person shooter that really doesn't add anything anyway. It's not a Call of Duty. It's not a Halo. That have these distinct things. Just
the only thing differentiating it is that it's anime.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's literally what
Which is what your problem with it was.
Yes.
So it's kind of confirmed what you thought.
Yeah. It did confirm that it's just an anime skinned Dark Souls.
Yeah.
There's nothing really groundbreaking about it. I really, and it's not really fleshed out. Like, it's not really polished. That's the word I'm looking for. It's not polished. There are some janky moments with your character and things of that nature. Even during cutscenes, armor kind of like your face mask sticks through your armor and things of that nature. It's just really Bandai Namco-ish. And they definitely are catering to a certain audience. I did make a female character. And I wanted to make the female character as egregious as possible, so I made her like super huge boobs and everything. Yeah. And you can go that route.
Yeah.
So they got a little hub area where you can sit down, and like I sat at the bar, and the camera zoomed right in on my character's bust.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So they definitely catering to.
What is this, Fire Emblem?
They're definitely catering to the audience. I did do some research on it, and they're releasing DLC, a bath towel DLC.
Oh god.
But it's not available in America or Europe. It's only available in Japan.
Of course, yeah.
So a lot of people were actually upset about that. The community was upset that they won't release it over here.
Yeah, we want the boob jiggle over here too. I mean,
that's the thing. The boobs don't really jiggle.
Oh,
like
really?
the character, even even the character that you like. That's supposed to be like your companion or whatever for the story purposes. She's not there, but she's just there for story purposes. She has like this insanely big bust. She kind of rescues you, and she's like, "Oh, wake up!" I forgot what they call them. Oh, revenants. Wake up, revenant. And then as soon as you wake up, it's her bust like right there in your face, and then you look up at her. It's like,
oh my god.
So, I mean, the game is super anime. They definitely know the audience they're targeting. If I was an anime fan, I would kind of be offended because I'm like, this is not all the anime fans are. But I mean, they kind of proven it because the game sold really well.
Dude, I keep thinking about Fire Emblem, and like, I can't get past this in 3 houses for some reason. Even though this is the dumbest thing in the game, probably.
Are you talking about Hilda?
No, not Hilda.
Okay.
I mean, of course, Hilda. I mean, hey man, Hilda's pretty good, looking good, man. Anyways, the tea party thing. When you get a perfect conversation with them, and you get that weird thing where you can just like look at the character and zoom in on specific parts of their body, and the camera it goes straight for the bust. it just goes for the bust, even though none of the characters show cleavage, not a single one of them, and it's obvious to me that they like want to add costumes that show cleavage, which I don't think they've done yet.
I think it's not going to be until like next year.
Yeah, you think it's going to be like way in the future?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like so obvious. What else is that there for? Why are you zooming into someone's chest? Like,
because even with the non-revealing clothes, the characters are quite busty.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. Hilda's the one we always bring up, but there's others.
Petra's like one.
Petra. Yeah. Petra. Yeah. Petra's definitely one. I mean, even Edelgard, dude. Like,
And she's like really conservative in her clothing.
Yeah. I mean, Dorothea.
Yeah.
Fucking Manuela, of course.
I think they designed her like that. That's why I don't mind her.
I mean, it's part of her character. Yeah, right. Like, she's doing it on purpose. So I actually don't mind her as much. Yeah, some of the younger characters, like Petra, she's like 15, dude, and she's like super musty. Like, I don't. Like, oh man. I don't know.
After I figured the age out, I didn't do any more tea parties after that. And so the 5 years skip, and I was like, okay, now I can do the tea party.
The nice thing about the tea party thing is that you really don't need to use it in your second playthrough. Yeah. Because you can just buy your support levels that you got in a prior playthrough.
That's true.
So you literally don't need to do them anymore, which is good. Because I hate them. I think they're annoying and they're a waste of time, and I hate the fact that they exist because it's just like a stupid. It's just that stupid like anime thing, like, you know, oh yeah, look at the character, you know, oh, they look so nice in their clothes, don't they? Oh yeah,
bet you can take them off.
Yeah, you like the man's chest, don't you? Ferdinand's chest looks so nice, doesn't it? I mean, Manuela's does too, doesn't it? Yeah.
So yeah, they every part you can sit in the little lobby area has like a suggestive camera angle.
Yeah, of course.
So so that's just what I play from it. I'm going to try to beat it maybe sometime this year before I take it back because I don't plan on keeping this game.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm just so occupied with Iceborne, man.
Yeah, well, let's get into Iceborne because we've beaten it, both of us.
Oh yeah, so
we've been obsessed with this game, by the way, guys.
I'll just get the bat out the way. The story's terrible. It's
always terrible.
Yeah,
it's Monster Hunter. They just.
The story is terrible.
This is our biggest criticism of the game: is the story needs to just go away.
Yeah, I don't like.
It takes up too much time.
The gatekeeping it does.
I don't like the gatekeeping it does either. And I mean, there's always been gatekeeping. It's just that it's more annoying now than it ever has been because there's actually cutscenes and stuff. Yeah. You know, where the game's like the characters are talking to you and they're like planning things and they're like, yeah, we gotta survive, and like I don't care. None of you are gonna do anything.
I think the worst part of the story, this Iceborne story, is when you're about to fight the blazing basil goose. So not the blazing one.
Seething basil
goose. Yeah. And then the admiral comes out. He's like, "You got this, right?" And he just runs off.
Oh my god, what a piece of shit, dude! Yeah, he shows up. He's not been in the story the whole time of Iceborne, and then all of a sudden he just shows up in the Elder Recess at one point. And yeah, Seething Basil Goose shows up, and he's like, man, I'm gonna let you take care of this. I'm gonna go do some research over here, quote unquote research.
He just runs the fuck off.
He just runs away, and then he's just sitting in camp the whole time, antagonizing you, like, "Hey, you took care of that basil goose yet?"
Yeah.
Fucking dickhole. The other worst part is when you finish the campaign, and they're doing that party at the end. They're like partying in the canteen,
oh my God,
and everyone's like, "Man, we did so much! Oh my God, we're so great, guys! Oh man, we've accomplished so much together!" And it's like your hunter's just sitting there, like, you know, not saying anything, and Montrell and I are just sitting there, just like, I mean, we literally did everything. None of you did anything. The only one who did anything at any point in time is the guy who has the full bodysuit of metal armor on.
Oh yeah, he was pretty cool.
He's the only one who did anything. He fought the Velkhana for like 2 minutes, and nearly got himself killed. Otherwise, everybody else is a useless piece of shit.
He fought the Nergigante in the last story.
He did?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he's kind of cool, I guess. But
I mean, that's what they're aiming for.
That's what the cutscenes should be. They should be fights. I don't need it to be like a cute, like the handler nearly dying for the 80,000th time. Like,
well, the field team, I was going to say fire team leader. The field team leader, he was just walking around. Everybody's like, "Oh man, you did such a cool job." I'm like,
and he's like, "Man, I didn't believe in myself, but that one time, I said that one thing, man. You know, I was really feeling myself."
All he did was give speeches.
He's they were terrible speeches too. The dude's like a murderous asshole. He's like, man, like after the story's over. I mean, we're spoiling the story, guys, because the story's irrelevant. Nobody cares. Right?
Yeah, whatever.
Right before the final fight, you Ruiner Nergigante shows up, and you fight it, and you quote kill it. You know, but then you fight the final boss, and you kill the final boss, but then you don't actually kill it. Everybody's standing there, and it gets up, and it does the anime thing where it gets up, and everyone's like, "No, this can't be." And then you know, there's the stupid pause that happens, and guess what? Ruiner Nergigante shows up and just kills the Elder Dragon, the final boss Elder Dragon.
He saves us twice, actually.
He saves everybody, and he kills it, and he doesn't eat it. He just flies away. And I'm like, what? And then after that he flies away, and then the field team leader in his I don't know, bloodlust is like, man, I know we finished this, we beat the Everworm, but man, that Ruiner Nergigante is still on my brain, man. We got to go after it. So when we're done with this party, we're going after Ruiner Nergigante. Like, we got to kill that thing. Like, and it's like, why? What
did he do?
He just saved your ass. Like,
he's the hero that we didn't need but didn't want but we needed.
But he's just the field team leader is just a bloodthirsty animal killer. Like, dude, he's like a poacher.
Yeah,
straight up. Man. I don't like him. I kind of want.
He was born that in the first.
I know,
world?
dude. He's like he wants to just. He's like a tyrant. He wants to take over, man. This is my new world. You know, there's no room here for monsters. I got no room for elder dragons in my new world.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, yeah, when you guys play through Iceborne, if you play through Iceborne, just pay attention to him in particular. Like, every time he talks, it's literally about killing something.
Yes,
like,
it is.
That's all he cares about is killing things. So
okay, to be honest though, Vakana needed to die. That thing was a fucking dick.
Yeah, he was a dick. Yeah, he's a dick.
Yeah,
I mean, he was flying around like fucking everything out.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah, he needed to go, so
yeah,
I was on board with that one.
But all right, let's forget about the story. Like, the reason we're obsessed with this game is the gameplay.
Jesus. Oh, so I know we were doing like I still am on the fence with the clutch claw mechanic, but now that I know how to play around it, it's not as bad as I thought. But I still, with my initial thoughts, I still think the game revolves too much around it.
Well, so. Yeah, I want to get into this real quick. I don't mind the clutch claw either. I've gotten used to it. I know how to use it now. I do like some parts of it. The fact that you can like blast the face and knock them into walls and stuff. I like that.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm kind of dreading playing this game by myself. I don't want to play it by myself anymore.
That's the issue that we're going to have.
Because it takes too long to kill anything when you're playing alone. And I've been saying this whole time, and the further we got into the game, the more obvious it became, especially with the final boss.
Oh, yeah.
Is that this Iceborne is not designed for solo players. It's just not.
Yeah.
Like, you are not intended to play this by yourself. It's possible to play it by yourself, but the game is a drag by yourself.
Yeah.
The fights take forever when you're alone because you have to do everything yourself. You have to clutch claw the thing. You have to hit where the clutch claw. You broke the clutch claw. You need to make sure you don't die, obviously. But given that you're by yourself, the monster's always targeting you or your Palico, so the fights are way harder because of that.
Yep.
And given that, you don't have as much time to focus on the clutch claw parts that you break. So the fights just drag, man.
Exactly.
They just drag. Some of the monsters, dude, I mean, it's taking me 45 minutes to kill these elder dragons by myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Like you said with the final boss monster, it has 2 phases or 3 phases if you count that last little mini phase it goes through. I was trying to solo that monster for about 3 hours before Justin got online.
Yeah.
And then once he got online, we finished the first try. First time he fought it, it was like probably my 10th or 11th time fighting it. But that monster, I noticed that game, that solidified what Justin was saying about, you know, it being a non-solo friendly game because it was targeting Justin, his Palico. So essentially, we have 4 people in the field.
Yep.
3 different targets besides myself, and it was a breeze. Like, I mean, I got fucked up sometimes, but
there were some scary moments. We did almost lose, but
we caught it twice, but. I mean, we beat it the first try. That was your first time even seeing this monster.
Yeah, I had never fought it before. I had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't know the phases at all. Like, you know.
So you are right about that. I just think I think maybe when they do the player increase when the player comes in, then the clutch claw should be a mechanic that we should be a necessity.
Yeah.
But I don't think it should be a necessity when solo players. So I think they should like nerf their health on solo play only, not on multiplayer though.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Because the game does adjust via, you know, players joining things of that nature, which I like that mechanic.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't make it too easy.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I do like that.
And I do like the end game. So this is spoilers. So if you are listening and you're still playing Monster Hunter, this is spoilers.
Yeah, you don't know what monsters are in the game. We're probably going to talk about most of them.
Yeah, so this is spoilers. Spoiler warning in 3, 2, 1. So I do like the guiding lands. I think that's very fucking cool.
Yeah.
The concept behind it, it's actually a grinder's paradise. You know, you can level up certain areas and then other levels, other areas fall down level. And you can also level up those mining nodes as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when you level up an area, the mining nodes level up. So that's also something to consider too when you're trying to do your builds and things of that nature. Certain monsters do show up. You can get investigations for them, and when they show up there are regular investigations back at the regular world.
Okay.
As well. So I think it's pretty cool so far. I was not expecting that. That's a welcome addition, and I'm interested to see if they're going to go with it.
I wasn't expecting there to be another region besides Hoarfrost Reach.
Yeah.
When I started reading about the Guiding Lands and like seeing people talking about it, I'm like, what is this? Is this a new map? And it is. Totally new map. All the regions basically put together in one spot, and they all have small little sections of the map.
Yeah.
Some are smaller than others. But it's just cool. They kind of interlock with each other, and you can walk. You go from the forest to the Coral Highlands, and it's like, yeah, you're just in the Coral Highlands area. It's like it's kind of cool. And the monsters in each area are generally specific to their indigenous zone.
Yeah.
So like the Titiyaku's only in the Coral Highlands area, or the Jagras is only in the forest area, something like that, which is pretty cool. I like it. I like it so far. I do think it's going to get really tedious when we get really deep into it, because I think it's just grind.
So, I mean, besides that grinding, though, I mean, we unlocked a whole different subsection of augment gear that you can do, which I think is really, really cool.
Yeah,
you can customize your builds to what you want it to be almost exactly. Like they have new things called life. You can do lifesteal on these, which have never been really introduced in Monster Hunter before.
Yeah, which is going to be interesting for dual blades. Because I feel like that's probably meta. Yeah, for dual blades.
I mean, the amount of stuff that you unlock after you beat the story is almost like another game, in itself.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like thinking about it. I was looking through the quests for stars 1 through 4 in Master Rank.
Yeah,
and dude, it's really not much. Like it seems like a lot when you're doing it, but like compared to like what's after the game, it just doesn't. It's like not as robust as I was thinking it was, because it's like after the game, dude, you get so much shit unlocked. The Guiding Lands, you're gonna get tempered investigations, arch tempered investigations, and the augmentation that we're talking about, and really just going back to and farming regular monsters too.
Yeah,
like it's there's a lot to do, and then they just added Rajang this past week, and they added a new zone to the Guiding Lands with him, which is supposed to be the Elder Recess area, I think, which is like the volcano part of the Elder Recess. So there's a lot to do in the game, and I mean, I don't like, I am so obsessed. I haven't been this obsessed with a game since Fire Emblem, I guess, earlier this year. Like it's like I'm like, we're doing the podcast right now. I just want to be playing Monster Hunter right now. That's all I'm thinking about. Like I just want to play that fucking game.
The last time I was obsessed with like Monster Hunter, honestly. Even when we played Generations, we were kind of obsessed, but we weren't to this degree. Like we got the G rank with each other. We were like kind of accomplished. Like we got the G rank, and that was it.
But yeah, when we made our big set, and that was kind of it. We got the weapon that was like meta for our characters, and that was it.
Yeah.
This, like, dude, I want to make like elemental sets. I want to use different weapon types, which I never really do generally.
Which is weird because they don't have styles, but I do want to experiment with different weapons.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
It's kind of cool how they incorporate that without the style change. I feel like it's more diverse than Generations, which is weird. Like I can't really explain it without, like, I guess you playing the game and deciding for yourself. So I am interested in what they're going to do with the next game, or what they're actually going to do with this game. Like, I wonder if they're going to add more monsters to it, and we're not going to see another world for a World 2 for another couple years.
I'm going to bet this is going to be similar to the original release of World. They're going to do DLC monsters for a year, probably like a year, I would guess.
Okay.
And then they're going to be working on the next game behind the scenes, probably. And I would wager that next game's going to be out in 2 years or 3 years.
Okay.
3 years at most. I would guess we're going to get Monster Hunter World 2 in a couple of years.
Okay.
That's my expectation on next generation consoles.
Okay.
But because they are very good at churning these games out, dude. I can't believe how much content's in this game for a game that's...
The team must be huge, man.
I mean, it is. It's their best development team. And, dude, honestly, I'm at the point now where I think this team, specifically the Monster Hunter team, is one of the most premier development teams in gaming. Period.
Yeah.
Like they are up there with.
I can agree with that.
They are up there with the upper echelon, in my opinion. Like the game they're putting together, like it's just really impressive. The way the monsters interact with each other is like, yes, it's scripted encounters, but the monsters like.
They feel natural.
It feels natural when it happens, though. It's not like you can tell it's scripted because the same thing tends to happen most of the time. But it's like it just feels natural though because it happens. You're fighting the monster, and then all of a sudden another monster will just roll up. It just seems to happen a lot. Like it's like. Because
I remember in the vanilla version that really didn't happen as much. It looks like they
Basil Goose was the only one that would happen with. He would literally seek you out. Yeah.
But like other monsters would. Like I've never seen the vanilla version 3 monsters in one area. It seemed like they fixed the coding and the optimization for that.
Dude, that was happening so much.
Yeah.
Like we were having 3 monsters fighting each other at the same time. We were doing a quest yesterday with Dwayne, and we were fighting. What were we fighting? We were fighting a Nightshade Palumu, and an Anjanath showed up, and a Great Jagger showed up. All 3 of them showed up at the same time, and they were all fighting each other while we were fighting them. It was chaos, but it was awesome.
Yeah, and that's the thing I like about this game compared to the old games, because remember, like all the monsters would just target the hunter.
Yep.
Like everybody would just target the hunter because I don't think the AI was able to handle different targets. They didn't
program the AI. Yeah.
But in this game, it feels like you're a part of an ecosystem. Like I guess that's what the field leader was saying.
We've come around to his way of thinking.
Yeah.
Kill the monsters.
Yeah, but you feel like you're part of an ecosystem. Like little stuff happens. Like if you knock over the monster, the other minion monsters are coming help you beat that monster up because like that's their apex predator. So
yeah, when you knock a monster down, the little Jagras will come over and start attacking it. Yeah, it's like because they know they have an opening and then they'll run away when it gets back up.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of cool. It's cool stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's just I don't know. In the way they design the armor sets, it just feels so much more accessible now.
Yeah.
It's not as complicated to build a mixed set because the skills are literally what the gear has is what you get.
And they designed the I know we were ragging on them, their designs in vanilla, but in this game, even though the designs are a little bit more outrageous, they're still toned back.
Yeah.
But I didn't notice the reason they are toned back is because I can do a mix set and still not look crazy. Like you remember like the older games, you did a mix set, you would look really crazy.
You got those like Duramboros shoulder pads that are like these giant balls on your shoulders, or whatever.
And you would have like some Raffles gear or something. Like, it would just look pretty crazy. But I noticed when you do a mix set in this game, they kind of all look similar in a way where you can make the colors the same and it looks, relatively decent on the hunter. So I think that's pretty cool. Somehow they actually designed the armor to melt with each other.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of disappointed in the weapon design. I want some more outrageous looking weapons.
I don't know. Some of them do.
But some of them do look
some of the dual
cool.
blades, like the Savage Devil Joe blades, look fucking
Have you seen the Glavnus ones like
ass.
that?
Yeah, dude. The glaives, the like glaives or whatever. And then obviously the Nergigante, one of the claws. So there are some cool ones. Some are pretty boring looking.
Yeah.
I would say. But overall, I think it's funny that my biggest criticism of the game is the simplicity of the combat for the hunter controls. Like there isn't much there for certain weapon types. Like dual blades is really basic, but
dual blades get short in the stick.
I do think though that is almost an advantage in the same sense as that the fact that it's so simplistic means that I am more willing to go try other weapon types.
Yeah.
Because they're easy to learn now. It's not like Generations where it's like, God, you got to learn the styles and you got to learn the combos and you got to learn everything about the weapon, and the way you position yourself is like really complicated in Generations. And here, it's really not that complicated. It's like you just need to learn positioning and a few basic combos, and that's it. And each weapon kind of has the one little gimmick it has,
Yeah.
So.
Like I can't believe I didn't know that the clutch claw combos, and now that I do for the hammers, like it makes the hammer so much more accessible for me. I think I might try like the lance because I have been fighting a couple monsters where I'm like, man, I think I can fight this monster with the lance.
Yeah.
Like, and I've been seeing lance gameplay. It looks. I like the idea of me standing my ground face to face with the monster, like never backing down from the monster, and that's what the lance is designed for. Yeah, and I like that idea of that.
Well, 3 weapons I want to try: bow, which I've already tried, but I want to play it more in depth. Yeah, bow, sword and shield, which I really want to play that a little bit.
I'm about to get into that.
Yeah, that gives you some blocking mechanics that dual blades obviously doesn't have. Dual blades bow doesn't have, and the other weapon I want to try is longsword as well, which is kind of a different version of dual blades. Yeah, it's a little bit more. It's
not as fast, but it's more swift. Like you have more control of your hunter.
Yeah.
With different movesets.
Yeah.
You get a lot of different invincibility frames. Mm-hmm. It's more so designed to be aggressive, but a counter attacker as well.
Yeah.
If that makes any
Whereas
sense.
Dual Blades is just straight up aggressive.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
You're just on the monster all the time. And then one more I kind of want to try is maybe Charge Blade.
I was thinking about doing Switch Axe.
Or Switch Axe. Maybe Switch Axe. Yeah, Switch Axe might be the one I'm thinking of.
Because I did play Switch Axe in Try, and it was okay, but I don't know, the moveset really didn't click with me.
Oh, yeah, Insect Glaive, too. God, man, there's so many weapons, dude. Jeez, yeah, Insect Glaive is another one that I might give a shot to, but I'm getting ahead of myself because it's like I need to build sets for these weapons. I don't even have weapons for most of these weapon types either. Like the only ones I've really made any weapons for besides Dual Blades are bow and maybe a couple long swords for the most part. That's really it. Everything else is like super, like it's just the basic shit they give you at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
So, but that's the problem is like I need to. This is why I'm so obsessed with this game right now because I have to go back and farm low rank and high rank to get materials because I am out of materials. Like for certain
you can
monster
kind of skip
types.
the line in some of the lines.
Some of them, but a lot of them you cannot. So you have to start from the beginning. And like, dude, I farm certain monsters a lot, but there's some that I barely farmed at all.
Well, the good thing is you don't need the clutch claw in like the lower and higher
ranks. No, you
ranks,
don't. I mean,
so you can kill them in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, they're really quick hunts. I mean, dude, look, I did a low rank one, and I killed the monster in a minute after I ran into it. It was like the second I did a combo on it, it staggered backwards, and it was like falling over itself. So they're easy to do. It's just like it's kind of a tedium thing, though. It's like I don't want to do that. It's like I want to be doing master rank stuff, but. I didn't play as diligently as our friend Dwayne did, where he farms each monster like 25 times before he moves on.
He's a farming machine. Man.
Yeah, he's crazy, but I appreciate the way he plays though, because he's not gonna have to deal with what I'm dealing with, and what you're probably gonna end up having to deal with too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're gonna run into the same problem, I'm sure. Like you played more than me, but not that much more than me.
Yeah, I'm already running into that issue. So yeah. So far, man, I'm very impressed with this game. This doesn't seem like a Capcom game. Sometimes I'm surprised compared to what Capcom used to be, like back in the early 2012, and how they were just like really, really money hungry. This game feels like a breath of fresh air. Like,
well, this is their crown jewel as a company. Like this game sold more than any other Capcom game in the existence of the company. It's up to 14 million units sold.
Okay.
After Iceborne. That's how many copies of Monster Hunter World they've sold since launch 2 years ago, less than 2 years ago. So that's crazy, dude. This is a premier IP. I think people have been really surprised by it too, and I think it just shows that people weren't paying attention to this series. This series always had this potential, dude.
Yes.
Always had this potential, and if you didn't think so, you were fooling yourself.
Yep.
Like you don't know much about Monster Hunter. Then
I did find an article earlier today, and they were talking about they're not going to stop supporting Switch.
Yeah,
they do have a Switch game lined up for it. But
is it going to be a new engine though?
They didn't specify. They didn't go into detail. They just said we haven't forgot about our Switch audience, our portable audience, because without them we wouldn't be here. But they did say they're glad they moved over to consoles because the portables were holding them back. You can tell.
Of course, that engine's terrible, dude. I'm sorry. Like playing this game and like after playing Generations, as much as I like the style of Generations, I do think that game's engine was awful.
Yeah, it was.
Like it was holding that series back so bad.
They were still playing on the PlayStation 2 engine. I think it was just.
Yeah, I think it's been the same engine.
I think it was just revamped.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad they did. I'm glad they built this game from the ground up, and I wish that team the best, man.
Yeah, no, they did a great job. They really did a great job. Like, this game is everything I've ever wanted out of a console version of Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
There's a few minor quibbles, but they're minor, though. Like, dude, G-Rank in this game is just so fun. It's not as like, inaccessible as it used to be, either.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
Yeah, G-Rank in the older games, man.
Because even for newer players, they gave that Guardian armor, which is supposed to get you through high rank.
And that's one thing I did like about this game, like how accessible it was.
Yeah.
Like even though we complained about the story, it was designed for new players. Because they locked you out of certain things and they taught you certain things and things of that nature. So I am glad That's one thing I wanted for this franchise was to just be open to other people because I always knew the potential of this franchise and how good it was.
Yeah.
People just gave it a chance.
Yeah, and I'm happy people are playing it and enjoying it.
Yeah.
One last thing I will say about the story, I kind of hope I talked about this a little bit with you when we were playing. Is that I really want them to like branch out with what they do with the stories in these games.
Yeah.
They need like a real antagonist, one that can like interact with the characters.
Yeah.
Not like a monster. Like a human character or some kind of character that can talk. Maybe a monster that can talk. I don't know.
Yeah.
But some character that has a motivation, like that's obvious or like that is spelled out or that the character mentions.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. Because, dude, this monster shit is just so played out at this point for this series.
Yeah.
It's not interesting. It's like they're doing a really bad version of like a nature documentary.
Yeah.
For this game, and it's just not well executed.
Yeah.
Boring.
I agree.
So, all right, let's move on to the news. First story, Google announced today that the Stadia is going to be coming out on November 19th next month. This is only going to be for the Founders Edition of Stadia, so those who are not doing the Founders Edition, the one without the subscription, you're not going to be able to access it November 19th. So... I don't know. What do you think about this? Are you?
I can't believe they're actually. I mean, I can't believe.
Of course,
this.
they're going through with it.
I mean, I just can't believe it's a thing. I just don't. I'm not gonna be negative. I want to see how good it's gonna do, because I mean, this could be the new face of gaming.
I mean, I think it's gonna work. I don't necessarily think that's the problem.
Because they did say something about like negative frames they have.
Yeah. Negative latency.
Negative latency, like technology to help for the button input lag that we're talking about. Yeah. So I really just want to see what I want to meet.
How does that work? First of all, and second of all, I just think I think the problem for them is going to be that their pricing model is weird. Like, because you have to buy games even though you're subscribed. To Stadia, which is weird. You know, it's like the subscription is going to give you a catalog of games that I think are free.
It should be a Netflix of gaming. They should.
Yeah.
If we have to pay more, like if I had to pay $20 a month instead of $10 a month or $25 a month or something like that, then I think people will be willing to play that if they are able to play a large catalog of games.
Yeah, because what's the point of buying the game on a streaming service? Like, what is the point of that? Like, why wouldn't I just buy it on my PC or my PlayStation where there's no latency? It's guaranteed there's no latency beyond the input between the devices on the console or the PC. You know,
I mean, the only advantage is you can play on your phone anywhere. You know, you can play it anywhere.
I mean, I'm sure that excites some people. I don't want to discount that. But, I mean, I just don't think that's a huge swath of the gaming populace. You know,
because it's not available. I would say, like, we don't have the technology unless it's like a portable console.
Dude, if you're gonna play it on your phone, that means you need to do it on Wi-Fi because you're not doing that over a data connection. Like, a lot of people don't have unlimited data.
Yeah, that's true.
On a phone plan, and if you don't, you're not playing Stadia on your phone because guess what? That's gonna eat your data plan real quick.
Yeah.
You know, in one sitting probably. So you would need to be on Wi-Fi, which tethers you to specific places, whether it's your home or a store or something like that has public Wi-Fi, or some cafe or something like that, you know, that you can use it on. And in those instances, how good is that connection going to be? You know,
that's true.
Is it going to be good enough to even allow you to play at a stable frame rate? I mean, it's a great feature to tout, but is that really that useful to people? Practically, is it? I don't personally think so.
I don't know, man. This, like I said, I'm trying not to be negative about it because it is new technology. I like new technology, but at the same time, I can't see it working in a realistic setting. I can see it working with certain games, but they're talking about like first-person shooters, fighting games as well. Yeah. And I just don't see it taking off like that.
Also, how does it hold up over time?
Yeah,
that's the other thing. Is like maybe it comes out next month and it's great, and the people who use it are like really into it. But how does it hold up when there's 5 times as many users?
I just don't think that, like you said, I think the biggest thing holding it back is the pay method,
structure.
The pay structure. Like I don't think me paying $10 a month or however much it costs. I think it's $15, right?
I think it's 10.
Okay, I got to pay $10 a month, then I got to buy the controller. I think all that together is like $129 or $139, something like that.
Yeah, it's $10 a month for the pro subscription.
Yeah. So that, and then I gotta pay $60 on top of that to actually play the game.
Yeah.
That one. Like I said, if it was like maybe $30 to $40 a month, I think a lot of people would be on board with that. I can play unlimited games for $40 a month.
Yeah,
that's pretty much like cable and Netflix on video games, and that's cool. But I don't know.
Well, and the other guys are pivoting too. Like Xbox has already established themselves with Game Pass for a while,
and PlayStation Now.
Yeah, and Sony's reduction of PlayStation Now's price a couple weeks ago is.
I think both of them were trying to get ahead of this.
They're trying to get ahead of this. Yeah. As much as it's posturing between the two of them, I think this is part of that equation too.
Yeah,
and that I think for Sony, this was a bigger part of the equation probably.
Yeah, now it makes sense why they did it.
It does. Maybe they had information where they knew this was coming down the pipe, because I mean that kind of information floats around all over the place when you're actually in these industries.
Yeah.
So they may have heard about this already and were like, shit, we need to get in front of this, and they did.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'll be interested to see how it does and how it's received and how well it actually works.
Yeah.
I would love to try it out myself, but I just don't find a need for it personally. Since I have to buy the games. If it was a subscription, I might be more interested. But
well, I mean, I might do a 1 month subscription for the free games to see how much. see how much latency it is and things like that.
I don't think there's going to be much free in part of the subscription included at launch. The only free game is going to be Destiny.
Okay.
Destiny 2. So I don't think there's going to be much at first. Like, it's not a super robust catalog.
Okay.
So that's another issue that they're going to have is the availability of certain games is going to really hinder them,
Yeah.
Because, they're already competing with first-party catalogs that are really
and they
impressive.
have their own first-party games as well.
They don't. So that's going to be an interesting thing for them. So, all right, let's move on to the next story. So this one's going to be a big one for us. We talked last week about Blizzard's decision to ban Blitzchung from future Hearthstone tournaments or Blizzard events in China after his comments supporting the Hong Kong protests. Well, a lot of shit has happened since we last recorded.
Yes, a lot.
So I guess we'll just go through it. So after Blizzard banned them, a lot of stuff came from that. There was a lot of outrage for a few days. And other companies were reacting to Blizzard, one of them being Riot. And they kind of got in front of this whole situation on their end to kind of preempt, I think, this kind of thing happening to them so they don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I think that was their hope. So John Needham, global head of League of Legends Esports, released a statement on Twitter saying, this was on October 11th, saying, quote, "As we near this weekend's League of Legends World Championship group stage, I want to take a moment to speak clearly about how we approach sensitive topics on Riot's broadcasts. As a general rule, we want to keep our broadcasts focused on the game, the sport, and the players. We serve fans from many different countries and cultures, and we believe this opportunity comes with a responsibility to keep personal views on sensitive issues, political, religious, or otherwise, separate. These topics are often incredibly nuanced, require deep understanding and a willingness to listen, and cannot be fairly represented in the forum our broadcast provides. Therefore, we have reminded our casters and pro players to refrain from discussing any of these topics on air. Our discussion also reflects that we have Riot employees and fans in regions where there has been or there is risk of political and or social unrest, including places like Hong Kong. We believe we have a responsibility to do our best to ensure that statements or actions on our official platforms, intended or not, do not escalate potentially sensitive situations. We will always strive to deliver a great competitive experience for players and fans. It may be idealistic, but we hope that League of Legends can be a positive force that brings people together no matter where they are in the world, even if it's just one game at a time on Summoner's Rift." End quote. So that was their statement.
It's the most toxic place, Summoner's Rift. I'm sorry.
And so I think at first blush, I think the initial reaction I had to this was that they're trying to make sure this doesn't happen to them.
Yeah.
Obviously, they don't want to have this controversy on their doorstep because they are fully owned by Tencent. Fully owned. 100% owned by Tencent, a Chinese company. So keep that in mind with them. But on the other hand, I do kind of understand. There is a part of this that I agree with, where it says these topics are often incredibly nuanced, require deep understanding and a willingness to listen, and cannot be fairly represented in the forum our broadcast provides.
That part I agree with.
I do agree with that. Yeah. That's true, but I mean, well, you're kind of trying to censor people, which it's their broadcasting.
I was just about to say it's a private organization.
100%.
Any organization can do this. FIFA, NFL, NBA,
which NFL's done.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, from a business standpoint, like I agree with what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Just from me being an American or whatever the case may be, liberties and all that other crap. Like, I don't like the censorship. I feel like people should be able to speak whenever they want to about certain things, but like they did say, it is an incredibly nuanced topic.
Yeah.
And I can only this makes me think back in I think 1936.
Yeah.
When the Olympics were going on, and also World War II was going on, like how if social media was out during that time, how things would have turned out then. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, this Hong Kong situation is crazy. It's not only affecting Blizzard and things of that nature. It's affecting other companies.
Well, the NBA's been having issues for a few weeks. Their preseason games got taken off air in China because one of the GMs for the Houston Rockets, came out and tweeted that he supported the Hong Kong protests, and China didn't like that. Yep. And
I mean, not only that though, but the backlash that he's getting from other players within his own organization saying that he was wrong for speaking up for somebody who was speaking up with their freedom, or their freedom of speech, rather. I don't know. I just think, I mean, we're going to get into it later on, but I just think this is showing what companies are truly about.
Well, hold that thought. Let's get through the let's get through the facts first before we start jumping into this discussion. So, after Riot released that statement, Epic released a short, not really a statement, but they were asked a question. And one of their spokespeople said, quote, Epic supports everyone's right to express their views on politics and human rights. We wouldn't ban or punish a Fortnite player or content creator for speaking on those topics. That's all they said. But I think in relation to this kind of discussion, it's kind of easy for Epic to say this when they don't have their feet to the fire. Yeah.
That, and they have the shares to back it up.
Yes,
it's a 60-40 deal. So, the majority owner of Epic, I forgot his name.
Tim Sweeney?
Yeah, Tim Sweeney owns 60% of Epic.
Is it? I thought it was only 52. I thought Tencent owns 48%.
Okay, yeah. Well,
but it's still majority. He owns the majority. He has control of the company.
Exactly. So he can back that up pretty much. That extra 2% gives him the leeway there.
Sure. But I mean, with a 48% investment ownership stake from a Chinese company, you don't really want to piss them off necessarily.
Oh yeah.
So again, as I said, easy to say, but they don't have to put their money where their mouth is right now.
Yeah.
So when feet to the fire, I don't know if they would react the same way.
Yeah.
Plus, that was just a random spokesperson, unnamed, from Epic. Who knows? I don't think Tim Sweeney's actually made a statement on this kind of thing.
Okay, I thought he did.
I don't think it was him.
Okay.
So that's another thing to keep in mind here is it might have just been one person's opinion. From Epic. So I don't know if that was particularly sanctioned or approved from the company. So
well, I mean, it's still going. So I thought they got shut down when the whole black hole situation did with Fortnite too.
Yeah, that's something. That's something. That game is a black hole. So I thought that was a really funny.
Yeah, I mean, it was just nothing. They just released Fortnite 2.0. That was it.
Ploy. Anyways, okay. Continuing on here. So on Friday, Blizzard released a statement. Basically, they reduced Blitzchung's ban to 6 months. They reinstated his prize money, so he's going to get his money still. And I think they did confirm, though, that they are not going to work with the two shoutcasters again.
Really?
I think that's what they said. Hold on. I guess it's in their statement. So they released a statement on this, and I'm going to read this statement. This is a long one, so bear with me, everybody. Quote, Hello, Blizzard community. I want to take a few minutes to talk to all of you about the Hearthstone Grandmasters tournament this past weekend. On Monday, we made the decision to take action against a player named Blitzchung and 2 shoutcasters after the player shared his views on what's happening in Hong Kong on our official broadcast channel. At Blizzard, our vision is to bring the world together through epic entertainment, and we have core values that apply here. Think globally, lead responsibly, and importantly, every voice matters, encouraging everybody to share their point of view. The actions that we took over the weekend are causing people to question if we are still committed to these values. We absolutely are, and I will explain. Our esports programs are an expression of our visions and our values. Esports exists to create opportunities for players from around the world, from different cultures, and from different backgrounds to come together to compete and share their passion for gaming. It is extremely important to us to protect these channels and the purpose they serve, to bring the world together through epic entertainment, celebrate our players, and build diverse and inclusive communities. As to how these values apply in this case, first, our official esports tournament broadcast was used as a platform for a winner of this event to share his views with the world. We interview competitors who are at the top of their craft to share how they feel. We want to experience that moment with them. Hearing their excitement is a powerful way to bring us together. Over the weekend, Blitzchung used his segment to make a statement about the situation in Hong Kong, in violation of rules he acknowledged and understood. And this is why we took action. Every voice matters, and we strongly encourage everyone in our community to share their viewpoints in the many places available to express themselves. However, the official broadcast needs to be about the tournament and to be a place where all are welcome. In support of that, we want to keep the official channels focused on the game. Second, what is the role of shoutcasters for these broadcasts? We hire shoutcasters to amplify the excitement of the game. They elevate the watchability and help the esports viewing experience stay focused on the tournament and our amazing players. Third, were our actions based on the content of the message? Part of thinking globally, leading responsibly, and every voice matters is recognizing that we have players and fans in almost every country in the world. Our goal is to help players connect in areas of commonality, like their passion for our games, and create a sense of shared community. The specific views expressed by Blitzchung were not a factor in the decision we made. I want to be clear, our relationships in China had no influence on our decision.
Bullshit.
We have made these rules to keep the focus on the game and on the tournament to the benefit of a global audience, and that was the only consideration in the actions we took. If this had been the opposing viewpoint delivered in the same divisive and deliberate way, we would have felt the same and acted the same. Okay, what could Blizzard have done better, and where do we go from here? Over the past few days, many players, casters, esports fans, and employees have expressed concerns about how we determine the penalties. We've had a chance to pause, to listen to our community, and to reflect on what we could have done in better. In hindsight, our process wasn't adequate, and we reacted too quickly. We want to ensure that we maintain a safe and inclusive environment for all our players, and that our rules and processes are clear. All of this is in service of another important Blizzard value: play nice, play fair. In the tournament itself, Blitzchung played fair. We now believe he should receive his prizing. We understand that for some this is not about the prize, and perhaps for others it is disrespectful to even discuss it. That is not our intention. But playing fair also includes appropriate pre- and post-match conduct, especially when a player accepts recognition for winning in a broadcast. When we think about the suspension, 6 months for Blitzchung is more appropriate, after which time he can compete in the Hearthstone Pro Circuit again if he so chooses. There is a consequence for taking the conversation away from the purpose of the event and disrupting or derailing the broadcast. With regards to the casters, remember their purpose is to keep the event focused on the tournament. That didn't happen here, and we are setting their suspension to 6 months as well.
Okay.
Moving forward, we will continue to apply tournament rules to ensure our official broadcasts remain focused on the game and are not a platform for divisive social or political views. One of our goals at Blizzard is to make sure that every player, everywhere in the world, regardless of political views, religious beliefs, race, gender, or any other consideration, always feels safe and welcome, both competing in and playing our games. At Blizzard, we are always listening and finding ways to improve. It is part of our culture. Thank you for your patience with us as we continue to learn. Sincerely, J. Allen Brack, President of Blizzard Entertainment and Activision Mouthpiece. End quote. Not the last part. That was me. Oh man, what did you think of that when you read that?
Certain parts made sense. I get that Blizzard's a global company, and I get that it's a major feat. These type of things will come up. You know what? It's bullshit because the Olympics don't have to deal with shit like this.
Yeah,
they've been through world wars. The Olympics has been through, and I've never heard of anything coming up through like this. Even when there was a political stance at the Olympics with Jesse. I think my black cards are gonna be revoked for this. Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens. Yeah. We did the black power symbol, or not the black power symbol, but he stood up to Hitler. Like, pretty much just said, fuck you, Hitler. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, like, that was a huge deal, but no one was like, oh, my God, we should just stop everything. Yeah. And I believe the Olympics is privately owned. And
I don't know about that.
Is it? Or is it? I don't think.
I don't know.
Okay. But I feel like these Blizzard games are on the same forefront because these games are fucking huge. Like, we may not be into them, but they have millions of people watching these things daily. So I just don't feel like that's a good excuse. Like, I feel like it's all business, it's all money. Like,
I think they're deflecting.
They are.
They're trying to deflect from the narrative that they're cowing to China in this situation.
You're an American company.
But, dude, like, people have already been doing this at American tournaments, doing this kind of thing. It is like using their platform at the end of an event to say something politically controversial, and they've not been banned. You know, it's like, and so they are adhering to the rules of the country they're doing business in. And I think this is where the problem lies, is they, and the NBA is another one, and any other company for that matter that does business in China, chose to do business in China. And that comes with consequences. You're going to have situations like this where your consumer bases are in countries that are ideologically opposed. And you're going to have to walk this tightrope in these situations where you don't want to piss China off because you want to do business there, because they will just kick your ass out if they don't like what people are saying on your broadcast that you're allowing to happen, or they don't like what you have to say. They can just kick you out. I mean, they're communists. They can do whatever they want. That's how they operate. They kicked the NBA out. They kicked the preseason off the air in China when these comments came out. So you have to understand that as a company, and I'm sure they do understand that. But this is the cowardly tightrope that these companies are trying to walk. They're being cowards because they're trying to hedge their bets. They're trying to appease China, but at the same time not piss off their American audience or the European audience. They're trying not to piss those people off. So they're releasing these like spineless statements where they're like, "Oh, we're not cowing to China," even though you're like, the actions you are doing are cowing to China.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that it's just part of the deal when you're in business. If you're going to do business in a country, you have to accept what comes with doing business in that country.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's a country using slave labor or a country doing horrible things to their citizens or being communist and having a government that is not
authoritarian.
That's
government.
An authoritarian government, exactly, right? You have to accept what comes with that, and what comes with that is sometimes your values are going to get tested, and
they failed the test.
They failed the test. Their values were revealed here. Their main value is money. The NBA's main value is money.
Yeah.
That's all they care about. They don't necessarily uphold the American values. Are they supposed to as a business? Not necessarily. I don't necessarily think that's their job. However, it's disappointing that companies would stoop to the level where you are basically bowing to China's whim because you're afraid you're going to lose the money you make there.
Yeah, and I guess, we don't want to get super extreme, but we can take it there. Like, how far will this go? Like, how far
exactly
will you have to? Because there are other things that's happening in China that that's not revealed here, but there are people dying in China for stuff like this and things of that nature, and you're still going to do business.
Some of the protesters have been hurt,
yeah,
killed,
and as a company, do you continue to support this?
Yeah.
Like, you really have to. Some things are more important than money. I understand your business, and you need to get your money. Like, I understand that.
Yeah.
But there are just some things, I think, as a human being, because, I mean, there are human beings behind these companies. And it's kind of reinforced what people have been saying all these years, especially within the gaming industry, that they really do not care about their consumers. It's all about that dollar.
Yeah.
I'm still. I mean, that statement kind of pissed me off. Like, I'm still mad.
It did. No, it was not a good statement, and I haven't liked J. Allen Brack since he's taken over. Personally, ever since Morhaime stepped down last year.
Yeah.
I think this guy basically is an Activision mouthpiece. I think he does what they say, and that's why he has the job. Because they tell him to do something, they ask him to jump, and he asks how high. You know, I think that's what he is. And I don't know. I mean, this is a really complicated situation because people are boycotting Blizzard over this.
Yeah.
And we know people personally that are doing it. We're not choosing to yet.
Yeah.
Or are probably not going to choose to. But it's something that it's like it's a very complicated political, but also economic, but also personal situation, because
there's so many nuances with this.
Right. We have a friend who's boycotting Blizzard. He's canceled his WoW sub, and this guy is like super into World of Warcraft, right? He was one of the highest levels with me. He was like my level. Like, we were the two of us and like one other guy. We were all super high level compared to everyone else. Like, we blew past most people. And he's quit because he doesn't agree with this, the way they handled this, and he doesn't like the fact that they're basically supporting China.
Yeah, they're censoring people and
yep.
Yeah.
And like I'm kind of conflicted about it myself because I don't agree with what they did. Right? I don't think they should have done this. I think them I think they're being cowards about it personally, but at the same time, how far am I gonna take this, right? Okay, maybe I could cancel my WoW sub. Okay, I'll do that. But what happens when Warcraft 3 Reforged comes out? Am I gonna am I gonna boycott that?
That's your favorite. That's one of your favorite
Exactly.
games.
It's one of my favorite games of all time, and we're gonna talk about that later. What about when Diablo 4 comes out? Am I gonna keep boycotting then? You know, it's like, as much as I have criticisms of Blizzard, they have games in the pipeline that excite me right now. You know?
Well, that comes back to the consumer too, right? Yeah. So we gotta look at our moral clause. Like, are we still willing to support this company? Yeah, the game may be really cool, but I can't support the game anymore because of this, that, and the third. Mm-hmm. Like, for instance, right? I didn't support Call of Duty for years just for a totally different related event or related thing. Do like loot boxes and how the game was the same. But then they came out and they revamped Call of Duty, which I wanted them to do. And now I am willing to support Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the newer game that's coming out.
Yeah.
Because they did make those changes because they saw that the quality was dropping or whatever the case may be. But let's say I was boycotting Blizzard because I was on the train too. Like, if anybody knows me, they know I am all for the revolution train. I will jump on it with you and ride it.
Yeah, man.
But this China thing got me thinking not only about the video games and things of that nature, but just some other personal stuff that happened, last year and everything like that. And I feel like this same instance happened in America, and I won't bring it up, but I won't bring up the incident. But the same incident happened in America, and people were on a totally different side of that spectrum. Well, fuck it, I'll just say it. Like with the Colin Kaepernick thing and choosing not to do the national anthem thing and things of that nature. People were getting banned in NFL, and Americans are all on board with that. And it's like, no one was like, hey, it's his freedom of speech. No one was on that train. They were just like, it's an attack on America. It's all this. And that's where I'm conflicted at. That's the main reason I'm conflicted. Another thing is how you said too, which I brought up off mic or off the air, is how far are we willing to go? There are people who are boycotting Blizzard, but they're still playing.
That's not the end of it though.
Yeah, they're still playing Overwatch. Yeah. They're still playing Call of Duty.
League of Legends.
League of Legends.
They're playing Destiny.
They're playing. Well, but I don't know if Destiny's still in bed with Tencent. I don't know.
They got $100 million investment from NetEase, which is a Chinese company. Dude, China is all over the video game industry. So this gets into the second point I wanted to get into with this is I've become super jaded with this stuff. Is my initial reaction to the outrage on this was I was pissed off at the people who were outraged because I just don't believe the outrage is actually genuine.
Thank you.
I don't think they really care about Hong Kong. They care about Blizzard.
Yes.
Or they care about the NBA. That's the only reason they're even involved in this discussion is because it touched their hobbies. You know?
Yeah.
And yes, there are people that do care about Hong Kong and did care about Hong Kong before these things happened. But that is a small group, I feel like, compared to what is happening now. This is all over the fucking internet now. It's everywhere. Like, I literally can't escape this on Google or Twitter or anywhere I go. It's all over my feeds. And it wasn't even remotely mentioned on my feeds prior to 2 weeks ago, you know? And I'm part of this problem too. I didn't know about the Hong Kong protests until 3 weeks ago. I didn't know it was this serious. This has been going on since April. So that's where I don't think it's genuine. This goes back to what you were saying. Are we going to be talking about this in a month? I don't think so. Maybe we will because BlizzCon's coming and this is going to continue to revolve around Blizzard's narrative. But once Blizzard's done with BlizzCon and they go quiet for 2 or 3 months, are we going to be talking about this in January? I don't think so. I think this is another flavor of the week outrage thing that happens every fucking week. And I don't know. Maybe the internet will prove me wrong, but I don't think they will because I don't believe the outrage mob is honestly genuinely outraged about anything they're actually saying they're outraged about.
I think this outrage mob is using this, like you said, as a crutch, or they're riding this train because remember what happened with last year with Blizzard. So Blizzard still has, like, on our very first episode, we talked about the state of Blizzard. Unfortunately, the quality was horrible.
This is the state of Blizzard 2.
Yeah,
it's going to be the title of this episode.
Yeah, so we talked about how their quality in games and the fan base of these games it's been teetering. It's been a rocky road. So they're already on this cusp of like losing their entire fan base, especially with the announcement of Diablo
They've
Immortal.
had a terrible calendar year.
Yeah. So the fan base already hates Blizzard, and I feel like they're just using this as fuel for that hate. They don't, like you said, they don't actually care about Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Then two, I'm on the other side of the fence too. It's like I'm gonna give and take too with it, is because I'm like, well, there are some genuine people who are like, man, this is really messed up.
Yeah.
Like, this is really messed up because in the sense of they're not really caring about Hong Kong in the sense. They're caring about the companies in bed with China, because they're like, these are American companies and someone's trying to stand up for the freedom and you're like, no, this is what we're based on. Like, this is what we're built on.
You're in a country that's built on freedom.
Yeah, freedom. Yeah. Freedom of speech and things of that nature.
And you're stomping on that for someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For the almighty dollar.
Yeah.
So it's like three fronts. You got people who actually care about Hong Kong. You got people who care about the freedom aspect of Hong Kong, and then you got people who don't really care about Hong Kong at all. They're just it's interfering with their hobbies, and it's not a genuine concern.
Yeah.
Maybe they already had some kind of spitefulness towards the NBA or spitefulness towards Blizzard or Activision and things of that nature. And like I said, I want to see if we're gonna talk about this next month. Well, not next month. I want to see, come January 1st, nothing happens with the Hong Kong situation. It's still the same situation. Come January 1st, are we still talking about this?
Yeah.
Like, after their Chinese New Year happens, are we still talking about? Because the Chinese New Year is in February. I think it ends in February.
No, it starts in February.
It starts in February. Okay.
Yeah, it ends in April.
Okay. So in April, are we still going to be talking about this? Like, are we still going to be? If the newest Overwatch skin comes out, are we going to buy it?
Yeah.
Like, what are we going to do as gamers to prove our point? Because this not only goes back, this is the thing about gamers, and I'm a victim of it. I mean, I'm a problem too. You admit that you're a problem too with it.
Yeah.
Like, we hate Blizzard or something like that, right? Like, I just use you as an example. You're like, I don't hate Blizzard, but I hate what they become. But I'm going to be playing Warcraft 3.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So,
and I fully admit that.
Yeah.
And I have to stand up to that. I'm not strong-willed enough to like put that aside, you know.
So that's another thing. If you want to incite, I'm not talking about Hong Kong anymore. If you want to incite change for an industry, right, with like the loot box situation, I don't feel like there's enough change to happen. The only thing that I've really seen happen, honestly, was the Star Wars Battlefront 2 debacle. But people are doubling down on these loot boxes. Like, you see 2K coming out pretty much talking like, hey, we don't give a fuck about your loot boxes.
And, spoiler alert, guys, that's going to be the top game sold in September, by the way. So,
really?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, we don't give a fuck about your loot boxes. Like, Madden's still the top-selling game, and despite overwhelming evidence that they are just copying and pasting this game over and over and over again. With just new roster updates. Because there's a silent majority that doesn't care.
They're extremely large.
Yes.
Extremely large. Overwhelmingly large.
Yeah, I mean, there is a vocal minority like us of people who are always constantly into games, and we're listening to the news.
We're part of the discussion.
Exactly. But we can put as many YouTube videos up as we can. We can put up that gets millions of views. I feel like the silent majority who don't search for these type of things. Yeah. You may be one guy who just all he plays is Madden. Like he's just a regular dude. He doesn't really play video games at all. He has his own other hobbies. And he plays Madden because he loves football. That's the only game he owns. He buys a PlayStation for Madden, and that's it. Yep. He's not listening to this podcast. Nope. He's not going on YouTube listening to Young Gale or Jim Sterling.
Angry Joe.
He's not listening to. He's listening to ESPN. Yep. And unless the loot box controversy gets on ESPN, it's not going to affect him.
Yeah. Which... This is what Blizzard is afraid of. This is why they reacted and reduced the sentence, is because this reinforced how big of a cowards they are, because they didn't fully recant this. They just reduced. You know, they're trying to mitigate the outrage.
And I only think they did that because the senators got involved.
Yeah, and U.S. senators are literally making comments about this, and the NBA being like, it's kind of disappointing that American-based companies are, doing this kind of thing. Trying to make sure they don't lose their business in China, because they don't care about people's liberties. They just care about money.
Yeah, and I know, like I was saying off mic earlier, I know a civil rights wise, I know we were in a different place in the 50s and 60s. Yeah. But as far as business, I don't feel like this shit would ever happen. This shit would not fly. The American government would be like, yo, all right, Nike. Like, if this was a Nike situation happening, they'd be like, all right, you gotta go. Blizzard, you gotta go.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, no, isn't it funny how much things have changed in 30 or 40 years? Yeah, like you said, dude, if this happened in the 60s, like, dude, these companies would have been raided by, like, the National Guard or something.
Well, people wouldn't have supported them. Even if the government didn't raid them, right? Because there is a freedom of speech thing, or they had the free market. I feel like people would just be like, all right, I'm just not gonna buy your products anymore. Yeah. Like, people really boycotted back then. Yeah. If they didn't like a product, or if it was supporting certain things of that nature. Hell, even with like today, like 3 or 4 years ago, when the whole Colin Kaepernick thing did, and Nike was standing with him, and people were burning Nikes in the street. I mean, that still didn't hurt Nike's bottom line because you're so big. Yeah. So I guess that's my real question. And if you can, email us or tweet at me or anything like that, what is the solution to stopping big, huge businesses like this? Like, how can you really impact the change?
The only weapons we have is being vocal and boycotting.
But like I said, there's a silent majority that chooses to ignore that. Yeah. They choose cognitive dissonance.
Which is why I'm not boycotting, because I don't personally believe it's going to have an impact. And that's the thing. That's the question I have, too, is all the people boycotting right now. Like, our friend's already showing, like, doubt in this. Like, he wants to play WoW. He wants to play. So how long is he going to last with this boycott? If you don't do it indefinitely, you only do it for a month? What does Blizzard care? It's a month. It's a month of revenue they're not getting from you. Okay, big deal. From like what, 5% of their fan base? Maybe even less. 2%?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's still people in WoW servers right now.
100%, dude. Yeah, how much has this really affected them? And if you go for a month and they lose that revenue for a month of like 1% or 2% or even 2 months or 3 months, is that really that big of a deal to them? Not really. If you come back eventually, I don't think they care, right? You have to stay strong indefinitely, I think, for it to have a real impact on them, for them to permanently lose that customer, because that's what that's the last thing a business wants, is to permanently lose somebody, to never be able to get them back. And this is the complicated part about video games. I brought this up when we were talking about Mass Effect back a few, however many episodes ago, is there's no other company that makes Warcraft 3. There's no other company that makes World of Warcraft. There's companies that make things like those games, but they're pale shadows in comparison.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And in terms of for Warcraft 3, nobody makes RTS games anymore. So there's no avenue for that. So this is the problem. This is the conundrum with boycotting game companies, is you don't have an alternative in most of these cases. As I've said before, this isn't like a toaster. You can't just go buy a different company's toaster. They do the same thing. Video games aren't like that. They're very unique products that appeal to very specific tastes of people. So boycotting takes an extreme level of willpower, because it's something that you personally are interested in and you personally enjoy and you personally like.
Exactly.
Imagine if Capcom did something like this, right? Are we going to stop playing Monster Hunter? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm obsessed with this game. Right?
Yeah, I mean, because there aren't any other games. I mean, you can say God Eater, but
they're pale shadows, though, in comparison.
Exactly.
Right? It's so it is a rock and a hard place to be as a player and as a fan when this happens.
And I don't think it's so much as willpower, right? Because let's say if Ford did this, right? Mm-hmm. People can just buy another car. Like, okay, I can just buy another car. You may love the Mustang. You may love what it does. You may love how it looks, but you can go buy you a Camaro and do the same thing.
But as a Fusion owner, though, if I already own the car, am I going to go out of my way to sell my car?
No.
Just to stick it to Ford? Like, no.
All right, let's use a different example then. Let's say AT&T did this, right?
Yeah.
You can easily switch over to Verizon and get the same product.
Super easy.
Yeah.
That you just walk into Verizon and do it.
Yeah. You can cancel your plan and then go to Verizon, right?
Yeah.
So it's not on the same avenue. Even the car example, that was a really good point you just made. Like, I already own Overwatch. I already own.
That's the other part,
Warcraft.
as I've supported them before.
Yeah. So what do I do? Like,
because does that make you inherently feel bad that we helped build Blizzard to this point where they're doing this? We helped contribute to that.
Yeah.
For 20 years.
And we can't now. I feel like we can't stop
back.
Them. Yeah, I feel like we can't stop them.
So, I mean, yes, it's defeatist to say, like, oh, I'm not going to boycott anyways because it's not going to have an impact. But it's like, it's really complicated, though. It's just not a simple. It's not a simple thing.
Because, you would have to stop playing almost every. I think even EA's in bed with China, so you have to stop playing EA games. Tons of game companies. They're everywhere. They have their fingers all over the video game industry. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, go look it up. It's easy to find. Tencent is in so many companies. They're a major conglomerate. It's
insane.
It's crazy. Like, I didn't know. I've just heard of this company like maybe 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. They start getting in public light over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've been doing stuff. Like,
why? Because American corporations didn't think the video game industry was lucrative enough to invest in.
Yeah.
And guess what? Joke's on them.
Now, what's interesting about that, they actually did a special, or I don't know what I was watching, but yeah, China actually invests in its own game companies.
Yep.
Like, the government literally invests in their own game companies.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And that's how they were able to replace PUBG so fast.
Yep.
Like, when PUBG left, they already had a replacement for it already, because they invest in their companies over there.
Which they do that with many things. I think they do that with other forms of media as well.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think, does the government invest in the movie industry? I'm assuming.
I would assume so. I mean, they want to have their own, they want to have their own versions of everything. But even movies have been going into China in recent years too. You know,
like Disney.
Yeah.
Disney's
and,
huge
dude,
over there now.
Warcraft's been huge over there, which is why I realize Blizzard and Activision don't want to lose this market, because I mean, this market, China is the reason World of Warcraft is still around.
Yeah,
like that is the lion's share, I think, of their subscriber base, and has been for a while. They made an entire expansion in the Pandaria expansion, literally to cater to that audience. You know.
Yeah.
So. This is exhausting to talk about.
I think it needs to be. I think it's just amazing that people aren't really deconstructing it, though. Like, more major platforms aren't really deconstructing. I mean, Jason Schreier talked about it a little bit.
It's really brief, though, and it's literally just dunking on Blizzard. It's not. They're not. This is my point. This is my point about the genuineness of the conversation. We're not really talking about it. We're literally just saying Blizzard's bad, and. I mean, they're wrong. I think they're wrong in this case, but it is complicated, though. Even though I think they're cowardly for this, at the same time, there is an acknowledgement that, like, they have a huge stake in China.
Yeah.
A lot of their business is in China.
Yeah.
Like, a huge amount of money they make is in China. So, obviously, as a business, you don't want to lose that when your shareholders are pushing you to make more and more money. You don't want to lose a huge chunk of your business like that. So I do get it from their perspective. But at the same time, like I said earlier, they decided to get in China in the first place. They didn't have to do this. So you have to reap what you sow with that, right? And this is they're reaping what they've sown with that. So there's multiple sides to the discussion. And there's multiple sides to the consumer discussion. Yeah, as well.
I really feel like the power is within the consumers, especially the American, European consumers. Because if they see half of their fan base just disappear, right? Yeah. Let's say that everyone does go through it. They stop supporting Overwatch, Activision, and everything. They half of their consumers. They still have China, but I don't think that would be enough to sustain them forever. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
The thing is, people need to realize how big and how much money people have their hands into things. Yeah. Like, I don't think people understand
where the money comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, China owns us, dude. They own most of our debt.
Yeah.
Like the country's debt, the trillions and trillions of dollars of debt the United States is in. China owns most of it. They pay our government to do things. Like, this has been happening for like 30 years, 40 years. Like, this is a long-standing thing. And this is why it's so ironic that people hate Donald Trump so much, because he's literally the only politician that's ever had the fucking balls to do anything to impact China. And it's too little too late with the tariffs.
Yeah.
I mean, it has had a minor impact. Companies are moving their factories out of China to avoid the tariffs. Some of them are. But is it actually having a true impact on China's economy? I mean, I haven't really seen that personally.
Yeah, I haven't either.
But I get where he's coming from, and he's not wrong in this situation.
Yeah,
here
like I
shows.
said, I don't agree with him on 90% of the things that he do, but this 10%, I do. Yeah. When he told me when he said that, he told me like he was talking to me personally.
Hey, Montrell, we got to stop China. We got to build a wall.
So, like, when he said that he was going to start doing something about China, I've been wanting to do something about China for the last 5 years. Because, I mean, I've been, I don't want to say I've been studying the economy, but, like, I kind of monitor the economy ever since the crash in 2008, because I was living in Michigan when that happened, and that fucked us over.
Oh, my God.
So I always wanted to stay ahead of the economy. Mm-hmm. So I always watched it, and yeah, like you said, for years, China has been on the up and coming. Like, for years.
Mm-hmm. Dude, like, wasn't there, like, an Office episode about this, like, 10 years ago? Yes. Like, yeah, it's, dude, I mean, it's come to fruition, though.
Yeah, when Michael
got obsessed with it. Yeah, Michael he read some book or something.
Yeah,
about it.
Yeah, he was arguing with Oscar about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this like you said, this has been happening. That was about 15 years ago. Shit.
The Office? No, it was probably 10.
10 years ago? Okay, yeah. But it's crazy, man. Like, I'm not only with China, or not only with Blizzard, but I'm interested in seeing what other companies. I think this is going to go bigger. I think it's going to disappear in games, but I think it's going to go bigger than video games. I think it's going to ripple. It's going to have a ripple effect on all companies, and we're really going to see who's in bed with China,
Well,
and this will impact the next election.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, this might be a big talking point in the next election.
Yeah.
Is what do we do about China? Because somebody made a comment in one of these articles I was reading, and it was an interesting point. Is that Americans aren't used to having the terms of business and how things are done dictated to them.
Yeah.
And that's what this situation has kind of revealed, is that we aren't in control of everything anymore.
Yep.
And maybe we shouldn't be, but I don't necessarily think China's the place that should be in control of anything either. So it's an interesting thing that I don't think Americans are coming to terms with this very well.
Yeah.
As a whole. And like you said, I will be very interested to see how the political discussion around this goes.
It's also generational too, right? I mean, most of the people that's controlling everything, they are older, so they're used to being in control of things. They're used to the American side being in control of things, whereas our generation and younger, we aren't really in control of things like we should be, rather.
Yeah.
So we're used to like getting the short end of the stick all the time and things of that nature. I don't say all the time, but we're more like used to it. We're just used to it. Like you know, we're not going to get the shit that we wanted. So whatever the case, we know how to deal with the cracks as they come. So yeah, I don't know, man.
So let's transition this into a discussion about Blizzard in general.
Yeah,
because like we said earlier, we had our first episode ever was a quote state of Blizzard discussion. This was coming off of BlizzCon last year. It was about a month and a half after BlizzCon. But we were so fired up about what happened there that we wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
And we went in depth, man. I mean, we talked for probably 2 hours about that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the audio was fucking terrible.
If you can suffer through the audio, it was a great conversation.
It was a great conversation.
But we want to talk about it more, though. I mean, I mentioned last week we might do this again. And honestly, what's happened in the past week has kind of pushed this forward and when I wanted to talk about it. But, I mean, it's a great time to talk about it because, dude, we got BlizzCon coming in 2 weeks. 2.5 weeks, right? And this is going to carry over into BlizzCon. Blizzard is going to have a real problem on their hands because they had an event with because Overwatch came out today, day of recording on Nintendo Switch, and they had an event planned at the Nintendo New York store, which is one of the only retail stores Nintendo has, and they were going to have an event there, and I don't know what they were going to do with this event, but it was going to be an Overwatch, centric event for the release on the Switch.
Yeah.
They canceled it. They canceled it yesterday, and for good reason, probably, because I think they expected they were not going to get a good turnout of people.
Either that or boycott or protest.
They were going to get protesters to show up, and they were going to ruin the event. And, I mean, again, reap what you sow kind of thing. But it was probably smart on their end to cancel that event. But the thing is, they can't cancel BlizzCon. They've already sold tickets.
BlizzCon is fucking huge. If you don't know what BlizzCon is, it's their own conference, obviously, from the name. Tickets can cost up to what, $700? Yeah.
They sell digital tickets for like $100 something.
Yeah.
And you get all these like in-game goodies in all their games every year.
Yep.
And they give out physical stuff at the event, but there's tons of tournaments, and they usually do a press conference every year where they announce new games and talk about their games and stuff. And then they demo certain games that are upcoming. Like last year, they were demoing Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Yep.
And they revealed Diablo Immortal, which was a huge controversy then.
Yep.
And this kind of really kicked off this hate from Blizzard that's been going on for the past year.
Because there's always been an underlying hate there.
Yeah.
I think, I want to say ever since maybe World of Warcraft started to die or started to get really, 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 really easy and casualized. And then on top of that, with they got in bed with Activision.
Well, that happened.
That happened before, but
happened in like 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, then there was the release of Hearthstone. Microtransactions started making their way into all their games.
Yep.
Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, all have microtransactions.
Yep.
Diablo 3 had the Real Money Auction House, which was its own form of microtransactions, right? So they've been going down, like, there's been a steady decline in Blizzard's quality and the money grubbing that's come from them over the years. So people's anger towards them is, I think, justified. And in the sense that they're a different company than they used to be. They're not the high quality, best in the world kind of company. They still give off that appearance because their games are still super polished and they look great and they play great. But the quality of the game just isn't there. Like the content's not there as much. The game revolves around microtransactions in some way or another. You know, even if it's just cosmetic, quote, just cosmetic, it's still the game is designed to sell you microtransactions. You know? That's the whole point. So they've been doing this for years, and the Diablo Immortal reveal was kind of a culmination of this building up over the years, is that people are fed up with what Blizzard has become. This is dude, them releasing World of Warcraft Classic and I think Warcraft 3 Reforged, and I think they're going to announce Diablo 4 this year at BlizzCon. I think that's going to be them trying to rehabilitate their image, because I mean, think about all their last few games. Their last game released was Overwatch, and that was in 2016, May of 2016. I mean, that was a while ago now, dude. Heroes of the Storm, 2015. Hearthstone was 2014.
And they don't even support Heroes of the Storm anymore.
And yeah, they've already axed Heroes of the Storm. Before that was Diablo 3. And that's it. That's all they've released this decade. I mean, they had StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty in 2010. So I guess that's part of this decade too. But that was a game that they split into 3 games to sell 3 games. That didn't need to be split into 3 games.
Yeah, I was really upset about that.
Yeah, dude, a lot of people were.
Upset,
I was too, and it was pointless. By the time they got to the 3rd game, nobody gave a shit about anymore. Yeah, like literally nobody cared. Like,
I don't remember anybody making.
There was no pop for Legacy of the Void.
Yeah,
like none whatsoever, dude. And I mean, justifiably, the game was polished and played really well, but it just wasn't a good game. Yeah, it just didn't feel right. You know, it didn't feel like StarCraft.
Which is unfortunate, because we already talked about how much we love StarCraft. Yeah. I mean, we talked about how much we love Blizzard games in general. Mm-hmm. And just to see them go down this path, it's kind of
it's sad.
It is sad. I don't know what the word is. It's another word besides sad I'm looking for, but it's that word.
Depressing?
Yeah, it's depressing. Yeah. I guess it's just like
sobering.
We have to grow up and just accept.
Sobering is probably what you're looking for.
Yeah, we just have to grow up and accept like this is the company that Blizzard is. And it's hard to accept that, but
it culminated with the Diablo Immortal reveal, right? Yeah. Last year, everybody was anticipating a Diablo 4 reveal, and we got instead a mobile game that Blizzard completely botched the reveal of.
That unironically kind of caters to the Chinese side, because the Chinese mobile market is huge over there. Yes, and the company that made that game is Chinese.
Yep. But we've seen hide nor hair of this game since BlizzCon last year. They haven't even talked about it. They've said nothing about it. We have no idea when it's coming out. Well, I figured it would have been out by now. Yeah. But I think they're hiding this game. I think they're hiding this game until they can justify releasing it when it won't create terrible PR.
They're probably going to release it alongside Diablo 4.
You think so? That's kind of what I think too.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to either release it alongside of it, or they're going to do like a reveal of Diablo 4, and they're like, "Oh, play Diablo Immortal now."
In the meantime, something like that. Yeah. Well, so that's kind of what I'm thinking with BlizzCon is like, right. So there was a story I had in here this week that Warcraft 3 Reforged has shown up on the Blizzard Battle.net launcher. A demo for it, rather, has shown up on the Battle.net launcher. And Wowhead has been data mining, and the internet at large has been data mining unit models, portraits, character portraits, and things like that from this beta client. And that indicates to me the game is close. Really close.
Yeah, like it's probably already done.
I would imagine they're going to announce the release date at BlizzCon, or say something along the lines of "it's out now," kind of thing, or it's going to be out at midnight or something like that. Something like that. I think that's what's going to happen, because they haven't talked about this game since last year's BlizzCon either, and we've had no idea when it's coming.
See, that's the thing, right? I didn't mean to cut you off, but even if I do enjoy, or when because I think I'm going to enjoy Warcraft 3 Reforged. I never really played it. I'm still going to feel partly bad, because I'm like, this company supports the suppression of other people. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
We continue though.
Well, that's going to be part of the conversation here, isn't it? That's kind of what I'm trying to get around to in a roundabout way is, dude, BlizzCon is going to be full of protesters. There will be people outside protesting. I don't know how they're going to handle people internally protesting. I'm going to assume they're going to have security, probably checking everybody. If you come in with signs or anything like that, you're probably going to get thrown out.
Well, even the Q&A panels they have.
Q&A panels. That's exactly my point. Is some people are going to show up completely not showing any form of outward anger towards Blizzard. They're just going to show up to ask a question during a stream. You know, like they did last year. Yep. You know, where they're going to ask crazy questions, and Blizzard's. And so what's going to happen? Are they going to cancel Q&As? Are they going to like? That's kind of why I'm so fascinated with BlizzCon right now. Is like, dude, they don't have much time to figure this out. Like they kind of this happened at the worst possible time imaginable for Blizzard. Like a month before BlizzCon.
I just don't think they. And that's what I'm saying. I think they jumped the gun too fast.
They did, which they admitted.
Yeah, and I feel like so what he spoke out against Hong Kong, right? He should have kind of just let it go.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Well, like we said last week, our initial reaction to this is that his ban should have been less if they wanted to get away with this. Like, it should have been 3 months, and that's it.
I wouldn't say just a month. I was like, just a month.
I know, yeah, right.
Just a month, and then that was it.
Yeah.
People would have got a little bit of outrage from it, but I'm like, it's just a month. He'll be all right.
I think revoking the prize money is really what set people off, too.
Yep.
Like,
that was setting me off.
That was the thing that I think pushed us over the edge, is they really fucked that up. They went way too heavy with the punishment at first, but...
And honestly, I don't... And see, this is what a lot of people are saying, too. And our friend was showing us, too... showing me tweets from the Blizzard Chinese account saying, you know, at the end of their whole statement, for the glory of China, for the people of China. And it's like, this is the Chinese Twitter Blizzard account.
Oh my God, man.
You know, like the official one.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I honestly do not think they made the call. I think China came down and was like, hey,
do something about
this right now.
I don't, yeah, you're probably right.
Tencent had to come down and say that, because I can't see a company that touts it on, you know, all this mantra about being free and everything like that. I just can't see them being like, oh, yeah, we gotta shut that down. Because like you said, this isn't the first time someone's made a political statement on video game streams and things of that nature. But this is the first time we've seen such drastic actions towards towards these players.
Yeah, and they always use that excuse: keep the focus on the game, or whatever. And
when when their video games aren't even focused on the game, a lot of their video games have hidden agendas, or not agendas. I don't want to say that, but hidden political statements behind them when they make certain characters, characters' actions and things of that nature. They have certain political stances and things of that nature, but no one really bats an eye. Even if you do, then you're kind of criticized for it. So, I mean, we can do this game all day. We can play this we're not doing political thing all day, but you actually are, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you can't get away from that. I think people love to have, like, people get really critical of games that have political stances in them, saying, you know, keep politics out of games. It's like, dude, it's inherently political. Everyone has political stances, and it's going to find its way into the thing you create. It's just impossible for it not to. So I think it's something that, like, that's my point about why Blizzard's annoying me with this, is that they're trying to make it seem like they're not politically motivated when... Just admit it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just admit it. But they're not going to. And, dude, I feel bad for whoever's presenting again this year at BlizzCon, because, dude, they're going to get killed. They're going to get killed. Their developers, like, that's the thing. I feel bad about for their developers, because, dude, even they staged a walkout, and they covered up Blizzard's, like, some of their values on the front of their building.
Yep.
Like, and, like, they don't even support what their company's doing. You know?
That's why I don't think it was a company decision. I think it was from Tencent.
Which is my point about Brack.
Yeah.
I think he's
He's just a mouthpiece.
I think he's just a puppet, you know. And yeah, so I mean, but otherwise at BlizzCon, they're gonna have a real hard uphill battle. That's why I think this year is going to be loaded with announcements people actually want, which is going to be Warcraft 3 Reforged release date.
Yeah.
Diablo 4 is probably going to get announced. Like you said, Diablo Immortal maybe gets released.
Yeah,
But I could see that not even having an appearance.
Yeah, they may do on the side. Like, they may have it at one of the booths and, like, have a sign like, oh, this is getting released this day. Mm-hmm. But only people at the booth would know when it's released, and they'll probably get slowly crept out through outlets. Because you know how some games, they get, just the word of mouth, they get released. And I think Diablo Immortal is going to be one of those games. I do think it's definitely going to get announced in some way, shape, or form this year. Like, I just can't see them not announcing it.
Do you think there's been rumors about an Overwatch 2? Do you think there would be an announcement for that here too? Because that would be the cherry on top. I think that would get people hyped enough.
Yes.
To like make this actually good PR for Blizzard.
Yeah, I think
that they need something other than those two that I mentioned. They need something else.
Yeah, I think this would be their game. I think Overwatch 2 will be revealed. I forgot all about that game, actually.
Well, also, WoW's latest expansion, Battle for Azeroth, is wrapping up. Like, it's almost done. So I would assume the next WoW expansion might be shown here, too, this year. So it could be a pretty busy BlizzCon.
Yeah, and they may show what they plan on doing with WoW Classic.
That could be true, too. So they have a lot to show, and I think they could pack a lot into this show. Like, it's... So,
hey, man, maybe we get some StarCraft out of this. Like, okay, guys, look, sorry, here's StarCraft.
No. Yeah, no. I mean, they canceled that FPS or whatever earlier in the year. So, no, I don't think we're going to see StarCraft, unfortunately. But, you think we'll see another mobile game besides Diablo Immortal? Because they've said they're working on mobile games in all their franchises. So, do you think we'll see something from any of them?
If we do, it'd be like a StarCraft mobile game.
You think so?
That's their next biggest franchise. What's their other biggest franchise besides Warcraft? I mean, we may get a Warcraft mobile game.
Diablo, StarCraft. Yes, so there could be a Warcraft mobile game. Obviously, there's Overwatch now.
Hey, I mean, we were joking around, but they very well could put Classic on mobile.
On mobile?
Yeah.
I mean, it would work.
It would work.
It would work, dude.
You may have to buy like a special controller for like the extra hotkeys, but it could work.
Yeah, or like a Bluetooth keyboard.
Yeah,
that would be interesting. I don't know. So they're in a bad spot, but
I would have said right. I would say they were in a good spot if this hadn't come out.
If this hadn't happened, oh no, this BlizzCon would have been amazing for them. Yeah, if this hadn't happened, that's my point about this, is that this happened at the worst possible time, because this completely changed the narrative for Blizzard. Yeah. This BlizzCon was going to be about their redemption from last year, and now it's going to be how do they change the narrative about where they, like, their negative press, the negative political viewpoint towards Blizzard. How do they change that now? Because that's what they're going to be fighting against this whole time, is that. And they're not going to be able to escape that, whether they want to or not,
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be it's going to be one of those things that's going to be constantly brought up, even after I said earlier, because I'm just thinking about it more and more as we talk, and I don't know what game company it is, but every time they release a game, someone remembers, like, hey, remember when they did this? Mm-hmm. And I feel like Blizzard is going to be, the China thing is going to be like, hey,
remember, for Blizzard.
Yeah, whenever a game, 10 years from now they release a game, people are like, man, remember they did this in China?
Yeah.
And it's just going to be one of those memes. It's going to become a meme at this point. That's who said it. Fallout 76, or the people, they said, we don't want this game to be memeable.
Yeah.
And it actually became a meme.
It became a meme. It did become a meme.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm hotly anticipating this now. This is probably the most exciting thing. Like, I'm just excited from a industry standpoint, like, what's going to happen here.
Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing how people. I'm actually interested in the coverage. I want to see how journalists are going to cover it.
Yeah. Because largely, dude, the reaction against Blizzard has been completely in uniform for the most part. Like even news outlets are against them. Yeah. So how are they going to get covered?
It's just a shame they're not covering I don't want to say the right way, but the way I want them to do it, I'll say that. Yeah. But I am interested to see how that's going to flow.
Well, on a different tack real quick, like I mentioned, there was unit models and stuff data mined for Warcraft 3 Reforged, which I gave you the link to. Man, they look fucking good. This looks like this game is going to be really good, which is so shitty. It's like, it's really unfortunate that they're, man, it's so frustrating. Because, I was so excited about this game, and it's, like, almost derailing my excitement, everything surrounding them right now. But, dude, these unit models they look great. They really do, you know?
Yeah, they actually, wow.
I know, dude, right? Like, it's, like, wild how good they look. And to think that this is in-game. Like, these are going to be the models in-game, dude. Like, I don't know. As I said, I'm going to be playing this game. As much as I disagree with what they did. Like, it's one of my favorite games ever. I want to play this, you know. So we will be covering it, but we'll also be covering BlizzCon and whatever else happens with Blizzard. So I think we'll leave the discussion there for now, though. All right, let's move on. Next story. This is an unfortunate one. I mentioned we talked about I think it was a month or two ago. Larian Studios had revealed that a game, Divinity Fallen Heroes game, which was going to be a tactical Divinity game, strategy turn-based game, was going to be coming out this year. It was actually scheduled to launch in November. It has been shelved indefinitely as of now. So they released a statement, quote, going forward, we at Larian will continue to work on Baldur's Gate 3 with news coming soon, which is interesting, and Fallen Heroes developer Logic Artists will be focused on their own Expeditions games. As an independent developer ourselves, we understand the value and importance of a developer investing into their own IPs and their own future. And they said players will have to wait an unspecified period of time, but we strongly believe that bringing Fallen Heroes to fans should be done in a timeline that allows it to be developed soundly. End quote. So this game's basically an indefinite ice, basically, and I mean, there's nothing to take out of this statement. I think they want to release this game, but it's weird though that it happens a month before release. I mean, is it not
definitely happened?
Yeah, is it not ready enough? Like, did they stop working on it a few months ago or something? Like, and there's still like 6 months of work to do or something like that, and Larian just doesn't have the bandwidth to do that. Because, dude,
yeah, that's pretty weird.
Because a month out is usually when a game goes gold.
Yeah.
Generally. So, yeah, something happened behind the scenes. It's so weird that this was so civil, too. This is, like, really, like, not... I mean, if they just decided not to work on the game anymore, even if they had... Because I assume they had a contract, you know, to make this game. So...
Well, it is that they're independent, but... I don't know.
Yeah, man. But still, if you ask a studio to make a game, there's going to be a contract.
Yeah,
between the two companies of what their expectations are, what the work's going to be, and what they expect, you know. And the game looked good too. That's the weird part. So this really kind of sucks. I was looking forward to this personally. So I don't know. Hopefully Valerian can make it and bring it out. But they did mention Baldur's Gate 3, so. They said there will be news soon, so that's kind of exciting, I guess. But all right, let's move on. We mentioned Brain Age a couple weeks ago had been announced for Japan. It has actually been confirmed for Europe. It's going to be coming on January 3rd, 2020, which is a completely random release date. But the physical version of the game is going to come with the stylus that we mentioned that is being released with the Japanese version. And so I would assume this is probably going to come to the United States at some point, but it's going to be an English language version of the game. So if you want this, you can just import it from Europe.
Yeah, which I think I might do because I really want a Brain Age.
Me too. This looks fun.
I just like the little when it was on the DS.
Yeah.
And my brother had it. Mm-hmm. because I didn't own a 3DS, but he had it, and I would play it. I didn't own a DS, rather. Anyway, I didn't. I played it every day before school because it kind of stimulated your brain. Like they give you these little quick brain exercises that you do, and you go about your day. Like that's what the game's literally designed for. And I loved it, and too bad it never really evolved past that. Or they never really brought these kind of games back.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo always had little stuff like this with their games, and I liked it. I'm glad it's coming back. I am going to import it from Europe when it comes.
I'm excited about the stylus.
That's all you want.
Yeah, man. I don't know, an official Nintendo stylus. I mean, I don't know, it's stupid. It's a piece of plastic or whatever. But I don't know. Nintendo got their hooks in me, man. All right, let's move on. Next story. This is the last one, actually. Wargroove, which is a strategy game that came out early this year, is getting a co-op campaign DLC for free. It's going to be called Double Trouble. It's going to be a co-op oriented campaign that is going to have a new faction, it looks like, the Outlaws, with 3 new commanders. For the Outlaws, and 2 new units, Riflemen and Thieves. Riflemen look like they can shoot from anywhere on the map, but they have limited ammo.
Okay.
And they have to reload at certain points after they shoot enough times. And the Thieves can steal money from enemy bases and bring them back to your base. So this looks pretty cool. It looks like it's going to have a campaign, and it looks like it will be soloable. There will be a solo version of the campaign as well, which is cool. It's going to have more arcade missions, quick play maps, and some more online functionality added to it. So this game, as I said before, I really enjoyed this game. It's cool that they're still supporting it with free DLC too, no less. So highly recommend that if you've played Wargroove. I'm sure this is going to be pretty good as well. So let's move on to game releases. Some big ones coming out this next week. We got Medieval next Friday. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which is a big one for you.
Yeah. And we got
Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds is another big one for me.
Yep. That's also coming out next Friday. So
oh my God, so many games.
Those are some big games. Trails of Cold Steel, Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 3 is coming on PS4 as well.
I heard some good things about that.
God,
it's an RPG, right?
It's a 3-game series that I've heard that these are some of the best JRPGs. That there's like a cult following for this series.
Yeah.
And dude, I really want to play these games, but they're like super long apparently. And now that there's 3 of them, they're like crazy long. So, interested in that for sure, but I don't know if I'll ever get around to it as much as I want to. Anything else popping out to you?
No, that's pretty much it for me.
All right, man. Well, that is going to be it for us, guys. I think. Got anything else?
Hey, man, this is like the first time we did. This is a long time we did a 2-hour episode.
We're at 151.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, I've been feeling grumpy today. I've been in grumpy mood all week.
Yeah, this has been a shitty week.
It's weird. Yeah,
I think just the whole atmosphere surrounding everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit going on.
Yeah,
dude. There's too much shit going on. All right, that's gonna be it for us, guys. We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and if you enjoyed this episode, please like the episode, review the episode, subscribe to the show on whatever feed you're listening to it on. And if you could, please share it with your friends. If you'd like to talk to us on Twitter, Montrell is at iTrapForTheHokage. That is the number 4, not the word. I am at ThunderNut01. The show is at The Player's Take. If you'd like to send us questions, you can do so on Twitter, or you can send an email to theplayerstake01@gmail.com. And next week, I don't know what we're going to be talking about. Probably more Iceborne thoughts, I assume. I'm going to be playing that all week, probably.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna try to play some more
Code Vein. And then if Blizzard fucks up again, we'll probably talk about them some more.
Yeah.
So. All right, guys. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.